I like about it is there are what we call host bowls. There are 3 host bowls: the Fiesta Bowl, the Cotton Bowl, and the Peach Bowl, that are rotating through the hosting of the semifinals. In those other years, they're going to pick up some teams. Well, we have an automatic bid, in essence, every year for the highest rated champion of the group of 5 conferences, which MAC, Mountain West, Conference USA, American, and Sun Belt. Our highest rated champion will play in one of those bowls every year. So we have the most direct path to one of those bowls that we have ever had. That's great. The College Football Playoff and the host bowl combined, everything's nationally relevant again. The results of our game will have an effect on what's going on in the Mountain West or the Pac-12 or the SEC. So it's all interrelated. And again, it just raises the visibility.
A couple key things. It's a 4-team playoff is really the thing. That's what the public and media have clamored for years, and excited about that. And the best 4 teams will be selected and play in the semifinals, and the winner of those 2 games will go and play in the national championship game 12 days later. The commissioners really wanted to do 2 things. When they did this, they wanted to preserve the best regular season in all of sports, which is college football, and they also wanted to preserve the bowl system, which is so important to student athletes and to institutions across the country. And I think this system does that. And so the semifinals will rotate among 6 games. This year it'll be in the Rose and the Sugar Bowls, and then next year it'll be in the Orange and the Cotton, and then the 3rd year it'll be the Peach and the Fiesta. And so each in that cycle will repeat over 12 years. There are the other games, when they're not semifinals, will either be a contract bowl or a host bowl, which is the case of the Cotton, the Fiesta, or the Peach. And what that means, one of the neat things that means for the Mid-America Conference is the highest ranked champion of the group of 5 conferences, which are the American, the Mountain West, the MAC, Conference USA, and the Sun Belt, is guaranteed a spot in one of those 3 games. So the MAC champion, if they happen to be the highest ranked champion among those 5 conferences, knows that they will play in either the Peach, Cotton, or Fiesta this year. So that's really it's a neat change in terms of what that means, that everyone has universal access to the semi. So if one of the teams finishes in the top 4, they play in the semi. But otherwise, they know that they will be in one of those 3 games, which I think is neat, not only for the schools that might participate in the MAC, but also the communities that host those games to have some of those great stories that come from those games.
Well, we are all tied together. All the major conferences, the 10 FBS conferences, are all a part of this college football playoff for the next 12 years. So it's awfully exciting to know that if you end up being one of the top teams in the non-group of 5, or whatever you want to call it now, you're still going to have an opportunity to go and play in a major bowl game.
That's a great question. I think one of the things that'll be interesting during the season is that a selection committee of 13 people will put together weekly rankings at the last 7 weeks of the season. And so the human element is back in the decision. And in the BCS era, which I think worked really well, the system was a combination of polls and computer rankings, and then the rankings were put out. I think that system did incredible things to get us where we are in terms of making college football more a national game than a regional game, and I think the BCS got it right. But this will add the human element, and I think people are excited about that. And I think it'll generate conversation. I think, when the first poll comes out on October 28th, I think there's going to be a lot of conversation and then each week there'll be a new poll, and it'll be interesting to see how that happens. And then I think one of the things during the actual bowl week that we're really interested to see and excited about is we're really creating a sports holiday on a holiday. The 6 games I described will actually be played on New Year's Eve and New Year's Day, and so you'll have 2 triple headers on those days. And one of the neat things is on 8 of the 12 years, the semifinal will be played on December 31, and so you'll have those 2 games on New Year's Eve. So think about what you do on a New Year's Eve, and if you're at New Year's Eve party, now you need to make sure there's a TV because the 2 national semifinals will be going on those nights. So I think that change during the bowl season is something I'm really looking forward to see the excitement level. And then really the championship game. you know, those teams, I was being at an institution, you put everything into winning that bowl game, and now, you know, you're going to be thinking about, all right, how I got to win the even bigger game 12 days later. I think that'll just build the excitement, you know, for, you know, the whole country. So I think all of those things are pretty exciting. And then the championship game weekend, we're really working to create kind of almost a festival of college football with fan interactive events and concerts and different events that really celebrate college football.